That's what it sounded like at the Beth Avraham Yosef Synagogue last Wednesday evening in Thornhill, Ontario. Nearly 100 members of the Jewish community gathered to recite special prayers, including 6 Tehillim or Psalms, and pray for the speedy recovery of one of their own, 20-year-old Benjamin Brown. Brown and his family are prominent members of the Orthodox synagogue. His father was past president. Ben has been serving with the Israel Defense Forces near the Lebanese border until last Tuesday, when Hezbollah rockets were fired towards his army base on Mount Dov, and one exploded near the young soldier. He was hit in the head by shrapnel, badly wounded. Amazingly, no one else was hurt. They rushed Ben to hospital in Haifa. He underwent neurosurgery, and he's in intensive care, and at last report was still in a coma. He's been surrounded by family and friends, rabbis coming to pray, people playing his favorite music, including by the Hasidic band Zusha and even the Grateful Dead. Ben's parents, Jeffrey and Annette, jumped on a plane from Toronto and flew to be with him. His older brother, Zach Brown, lives in Israel and is there too. Meanwhile, Jews around the world are reciting extra prayers. In fact, so many people recited prayers that they needed to create 2 WhatsApp groups when the first one maxed out at over 1,000 people. And people have been sending cards and drawings and letters and studying and doing good deeds and wishing for good news. Since October 7th, many Canadian Jews have been keeping the IDF soldiers front of mind. But this time, it's personal.
And when I found out today, it made me feel that it could be any one of our sons, which it's felt that way all along. But when it's someone from Toronto who is the same age as your own child, it pierces your heart because it becomes in the close inner circle.
I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. Welcome to the CJN Daily, a podcast of the Canadian Jewish News.
Is life really miserable for the Jews, or are we just glued to a 24-hour news cycle?
Should we be worried that so many young rabbis are coming out of seminary as anti-Zionists?
And what does Judaism say about polyamory?
If you want answers to these questions, well, we don't have any. But we do love asking them. Each week, tune into Bonjour Chai to hear debates and hot takes by me, Avi Feingold,
And me, Phoebe Maltz-Bovy,
as we sit down with pundits, rabbis, and scholars to talk about the most pressing issues facing Jews in Canada and around the world.
Listen and subscribe to Bonjour Chai at thecjn.ca/bonjour or wherever you get your podcasts.
The windows of Ben Brown's room in the Rambam hospital in Haifa are decorated now with 2 green and yellow flags with olive trees on them. His platoon comrades in the IDF's Golani Brigade visited a couple of days ago and brought the flags. Until the shrapnel from the rocket hit him, Brown had been attached to the Golani's No. 12 Battalion, protecting Israel from constant Hezbollah attacks fired from Lebanon across the northern border since October 7th. The Golanis are an infantry brigade, and they've suffered by far the highest casualties of any military unit since the war began in October. Ben was sworn into the IDF last year, but in Canada, he attended Or Chaim school. He spent his summers at Camp Moshava in Ennismore, and then attended a yeshiva near Jerusalem. It's called Lev HaTorah. They have a program especially for accommodating religious lone soldiers from the diaspora who live there and study and then serve and then come back and study some more. Jeffrey Brown, Ben's father, has been posting regular updates on his Facebook page, but understandably, they haven't been up to doing media interviews yet. But he wanted people to know that while the hospital is crowded, it's not only because of all the visitors for his son, it's also because there are 5 wounded Druze children being treated there. They're among the 20 who were injured Saturday when that Hezbollah rocket slammed into the Majd al-Shams community soccer field, killing 12 Druze youngsters. Here at home, members of the Brown family's synagogue continue to lean on each other for support. And we have several interviews, first with Rabbi Daniel Korobkin, and then with some community members who came out to pray.
I spoke with Annette and Jeffrey Brown, Benji's parents, earlier today. They had arrived in Israel, and they were settled in Rambam Hospital, and they gave us an update as far as how Benji's doing. Thank God he's stable. And it's just going to be a matter of time. They just have to wait. There's no way of knowing what the effects are of this injury. And that's why I mentioned to the congregation that our prayers and our mitzvot are so important at a time like this, because no one knows what's going to happen. The future is unknown, completely unknown. But they're optimistic, they're strong, and they asked to convey the message that, as Benji would want us to do, we should continue all our prayers, we should do good for each other, we should increase our mitzvot, increase our good deeds, and he also said that we should study more Torah, especially the Torah of Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook, who Benji is such a pure soul. He is such a sweet, good person, such a sweet, good young man. He doesn't belong in the army, and he just needs to rest now and let his soul ascend. And that's where our thoughts are now, you know.
Did they know, were there other injuries? You said he was the only one, and that was sort of weird.
Yeah. No other injuries, just one small piece of shrapnel into the head. And he's the only one in his whole unit.
And what does that speak to you, if anything, about that?
We don't know God's ways, but perhaps in some way Benji is bringing us all together in prayer and in goodness.
And you're the rabbi of the congregation, but this is also personal. They're very close friends. Tell me how you know Benji, and did you do his bar mitzvah? Did you do his, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I didn't do his bris, but I did his bar mitzvah.
I was about to say bris.
Yeah, I did his bar mitzvah. And his father, Jeffrey Brown, is the past president of the shul. We're neighbors. We're very close friends. We spent a lot of time together. I was at Benji's older brother Zachary's wedding in Israel just a few months ago, and we celebrated the night away. And Benji is just such, like I said, just a sweet, kind, energetic, passionate young man. And I've gotten to see him grow over the years, and he's just developed into this amazing person.
Why did he decide to go and do what his older brother did? Was there anything that motivated him that you know to make Aliyah, to serve in the IDF, study in Israel, follow in the footsteps?
I just think that it's first of all, it's part of their education. The Brown family are very strong religious Zionists, and they're passionate about Medinat Israel, the people of Israel, and it's just a natural outcome of who Zach and Benji are, the education they received at Netivot and Bnei Akiva schools, the love of Zion, and then they went on to yeshiva, and they after high school, and they received the same kind of support, and they wanted to be part of the people. They wanted to be part of Am Yisrael.
When this happened, are you able to, I don't even know how this works as a rabbi, can you FaceTime over his bed and give him a bracha, or how does that work?
Well, right now it's too early to do anything like that, so we just have to...
I saw you taking a picture. That's why I was wondering what you were doing.
No, I wanted to send it to the parents. I want the parents to see how we all came together to say Tehillim, to say Psalms on Benji's behalf, and how he has succeeded in bringing our people together. And I know that we're not the only congregation who's praying for Benji. There are already 2 WhatsApp groups for Tehillim, because it maxed out one of the groups, and people worldwide are davening for Benji.
I really appreciate you letting me come tonight and squeezing me in.
Yeah, sure.
Why did it hit you so hard today?
Since the war started, I've been following the news. Every day when I wake up, I check the different Israeli news stations, and each time I'm very sad when there's a loss, but I've been grateful, and I've been praying that there won't be a name I recognize, and this is the first name that I recognize. And this boy was in the same class as my son in high school. And on Shabbos, there's the plaque of their graduating class, and there's another plaque at Or Chaim with all the boys who have fought over the years and all the boys who are fighting now. And when I go, I look at the graduation photo, and then I look at the plaque, and there's always a young child who asks, what I'm doing. And I said, well, these are the boys who are protecting us. Here's their pictures, and a quarter of the class is in the IDF, and here are their names over here, and we need to pray for them because they are defending us. And I hope the tears, I heard that if you daven with tears, Hashem answers your prayers. So I hope Hashem answers our prayers, and you should have a full refuah shlema.
How old is yours?
21.
Howard Wasserman.
And you're Gabbai, and
Yeah.
you know Jeffrey?
Yes, I know
Gabbai
Jeffrey
when he
very
was
well.
president?
I wasn't, but I've lived in the community for, 25 years, so I know him very well. I know it's
So the community's rallying around the Brown family and praying for Benji, Benjamin. What have you heard, and what does it mean to you to be here tonight?
It means a lot when the community comes together because we feel like we're doing something together, which is different than just being at home and thinking about things. It feels good to do things together.
Is this going to be an all-week thing, weekend thing doing Tehillim, or is it just a one-off tonight?
We actually do Tehillim normally during the war. We did extra tonight. I don't think we'll be doing extra every day. I think this was a special.
Like 7 or something?
6. We did 6.
My name's Renee Rubenstein. It was beautiful the way the rabbi mentioned that Rav Kook had taught us that fathers and sons, parents and children have to come together, and the best place to come together is in Eretz Israel, in the land of Israel. And it was, if there's going to be peace between families and between people, it'll be there. And that's where the peace and shalom and the health of a family comes together. And it was very, very touching, very meaningful to me.
You know the family personally, or you've seen?
Yes, I don't know them so well, but I met them recently, and I heard about their son, and I was very inspired that, these 2 boys, she has 2 sons in the army, and I was very inspired and respect that strength that they have, that courage, and that dedication to the land of Israel.
So you came specifically tonight for the Tehillim you heard about?
Yeah.
And that's what Jewish Canada sounds like for this episode of the CJN Daily. The show's produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman. Our executive producer is Michael Freeman, and our music is by Dov Beck-Levine. If you want to join a WhatsApp group of people praying for Ben Brown, you can email me, and I'll send you the number. I'm at ebessner@thecjn.ca. Since October 7th, so far, over 4,000 IDF soldiers have been hurt. 680 have been killed, including a 23-year-old IDF soldier whose parents are Canadian, Yonadav Levenstein. He fell in Gaza in early November. Longtime listeners of the CJN Daily might remember that we interviewed Ben's older brother, Zach Brown, in 2021 on his experiences as a lone soldier. He'd finished his army service and was already working as a civilian in Tel Aviv. So we'll end with a bit of that conversation with Zach Brown. So what was your journey like?
So I drafted to the Kfir Brigade, which is a combat unit that primarily specializes in urban warfare in the West Bank, and like surrounding areas there. I was trained to be the company commander's right-hand man, and I was the top sharpshooter in our company. So I was always first in and whatnot. I led countless checkpoints, countless patrols, been on many arrests, lots of protests, had lots of experiences in the army, to say the least.
You left 4 to 5 months ago, so that means you were right in the heart of the latest war. Are you allowed to say what you did and how it was?
So we were originally in 3 months of training, like more advanced training. I was actually in the middle of the field. We were in the shooting ranges sleeping, and then we get a text at 2 a.m. saying, okay, we need to go to Tzoma Tapuach. At like 5 a.m, buses are coming to get us, which Tzoma Tapuach, if you've heard about it, it's where one of the most dangerous junctions in all of Israel. Lots of shootings have gone down there, lots of stabbings and whatnot. So we were being deployed to there for no one knew how long, because it was just the start of the operation itself, where no one knew if we're going in, are we going to Gaza, are we going here for how long, are we going to Gaza tomorrow? No one really knew what was happening. So we go to the Tzomit area and the surrounding cities nearby, and we're doing a lot of patrols, a lot of ambushes, which is kind of where we set up camp, just like ourselves and whatnot. And we sit there in bushes waiting to see if any terrorists are going to come towards the road and start throwing stuff onto cars, regardless if they're Palestinian or Israeli, just if they're going to come and try and cause trouble. So that was a lot of our time that we spent. We had a lot of riots also during that time, because in that time there was also a new settlement that was going up called Evyatar, which was very, very there was a huge contradiction in all of Israel about it, because a few Jews literally just were like, okay, we're gonna go take this hill, and that's what they did. So a lot of the Palestinians surrounding were like, okay, you guys can't just do that and whatnot. So they started doing a lot of protests, lighting up everything around all the fields next to the Evyatar. So we had to spend a lot of time there, whether it was stopping Jews from throwing rocks at the Palestinians or Palestinians stopping them from burning the fields in general. So we were just kind of there for riot control, which was hectic, but at the end of the day, it's what has to be done for both sides.
The outpouring of anti-Israel and Jew hatred at this time on social media, you probably were aware of it, right? Especially back in your campuses and universities and in Canada, there were so many anti-Semitic and anti-Israel tweets and Instagram stuff. You know, how does that play out for somebody who's a lone soldier in Israel participating in this war, while you see this stuff happening in the social media world?
Right. A lot of the people who were big influencers about the Palestinian conflict, who think they're the smartest people in the world, they don't want to come here and see the truth and see that, maybe Israel's actually doing stuff for the Palestinians. I think to get the bad social media, like those influencers or whatever, if they want to actually come see what's going on, they're more than invited. I don't know if they'll get a warm welcome in the places that they're standing up for. I'm not sure that the money that they raise on social media is going to where they think it's going. And if they want to come see this, then they're more than welcome.
And when are you coming home next? Or that is home? Canada.
I don't know if my parents are going to like that I say this, but I'm pretty sure I've told them this. Israel's my home. Toronto's a place that I visit. So eventually, no rush, especially now with all this Corona stuff going on. Safer to be here, I guess.
Y'all remember that joke from Airplane? The old lady asked for some light reading.
How about this leaflet, famous Jewish sports legends?
But in actuality, that's changing. Jews are crushing it in sports around the world, and we are here to celebrate them.
Sandy Koufax gets his 10th strikeout.
Zach Hyman, his first career hat trick. 41 points for Diddy Avdia. It's Sue Bird's building.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Jamie.
We love Jews and we love sports, but most of all, we love kvelling over Jews in sports.
Together we host Menschwarmers, the longest running Jewish sports podcast in the world. Listen and subscribe at thecjn.ca and wherever you find your podcasts.